All right, so today I just have a quick video about the results of the St. Pete primary elections. Um, as you can see on the screen here, the what was expected to happen. Kind Welch won a plurality, uh, followed by Robert Blackman. The two of them will be running off against each other in November. The remaining candidates have been eliminated from uh, the race. I'm going to go through city council elections too, real quick, before I jump back over to the mayoral election. So there's three city council seats up for election: District One, Four, and Eight. Um, there were multiple people running, of course. Each district. It's weird how uh, primary elections work for city council seats. See, each of these districts covers a certain portion of St. Petersburg, obviously. Um, but for the primary, only the people in that district can actually vote in the primary. When it comes to the general election this November, everyone in St. Petersburg can vote on the top two candidates who win the primary. So it's weird. Like the district chooses the candidates for the primary, then the city chooses the candidates from that primary for the council. It's interesting. But anyways, for District One, we had these four candidates. I think Copley Gurd is actually expected to be the front runner because I think his father was Charlie Gurds. He's had been on the city council or something like that. I can't remember exactly. Um, and he was facing against I think it's Bobby Shaley. She was the conservative running against him. Uh, she just barely edged him out to take a plurality for District One. Um, I should be interesting to see how that goes. I think Copeland Gerd is probably still expected to win in the primary. Uh, there's not actually, as far as I can tell, there isn't any polling data as far as like for district council seats. But my guess would be Copley will probably still win. But I mean, we'll see. Depends on depends on how the city votes. Um, so here for District Four, we had these five candidates. I don't think there really was any front runner. This district was previously held by Darden Rice, who was running for mayor. Um, so yeah, we had these five candidates. Lizette Hanowicz taking the plurality as well. My guess is that Tom Mullins, I believe, is like the. It's weird calling some of these people conservative because it's like they're not that conservative, but they're I guess to the right of the other candidate. I suppose I would say like Lizette's probably the. I think she's a Democrat or a registered Democrat, and Tom being. I'm not sure what Tom's party affiliation is, to be honest, but I mean it's all officially nonpartisan, of course. But anyways, that's the breakdown there. I would, if I had to make a prediction here, I would say uh, I think Lizette would probably win. I think she'll be able to consolidate the votes behind Clifford and Douglas. I think they were both kind of in the same. I think all three of them were in the same uh, general ballpark of political opinions, um, and that would lead for a majority of votes. I think same with like up here. I think John Hornbeck. Let's get real quick. I believe he is. I think he's in the same general. Let's see. Oh, so that's interesting. That district appears to have been Robert Blackman's council seat. Interesting. He was or he is still running. He's as I mentioned before is in the runoff. Let's see. I'll just click on it. Florida politics is a if you follow Florida politics at all, like you know, not not this site, but like politics in general for Florida, this is a good website to look to watch. They're a very they're a good um, a good platform. They have very I don't know how to say it, like I don't want to say not nonpartisan, but a very balanced approach to looking at the different candidates. So yeah, Hornbeck, yeah. So he was definitely in line with, or is definitely probably in line. He, progressive candidate. He's probably more so than Copa Girds, I would expect, but I'm sure his votes will go to Girds. Ed Carlson. Let's see, what do we have with Ed Carlson? I, I've I haven't seen much on party affiliation for him, but I've heard him talk about a few things, and he seems like he, you know, I feel like he's got not a bad platform. He is a registered Republican, so it'll be interesting to see if his votes go over to Bobby Lee, or if they kind of splinter the two. I mean, since this if this district had Robert Blackman before, it wouldn't be crazy to see Bobby Lee taking that seat. I guess it depends on how the city votes, and the city of St. Pete is trending more to the left, more Democratic, I guess, as opposed to Republican as it had previously been in the past. And let's see, for District 8, this one was uh, an interesting election. So, top two candidates: Richie Floyd and Jeffrey Danner. I don't know anything about Jeffrey Danner, but I remember reading about a couple others. Um, so Richie Floyd, he's with the Democratic Socialists of America. There's been might have seen in the news there are a couple of signs somebody put up around the city calling him a Marxist or something like that. Um, he is, like, interestingly enough, he's the only candidate in this primary election to actually win a majority of the vote for the ballot that they're on. He got 51% of the vote, and as you can see here, no candidate. And this is 51%, running against three other people. So got a majority of the vote. No one else running for mayor or other council seats actually achieved that. So he probably looking pretty good going into the general election. He's from what I've read, he's like a workers' rights kind of person. He's, uh, some might call him a local Bernie Sanders in a way for city council. So depending on how this election goes, this will be an interesting. He'll be an interesting person to follow into the future. But back to the mayoral election. So as we can see here, Ken Welch got 39% of the vote. Robert Blackman 28%. So these actually line up pretty well with the last poll that came out before the election. So the last poll was August 21st, and we can see here Robert Blackman was expected to get about 27%, and this is give or take 4.2%. So it could have been 4.2% more or less than numbers that they have here. So he, was almost spot on with 0.8%. Ken Welch 37 got 39%. Pete Boland 6 compared to 5%. Gay Newton just 7% as opposed to the 6% they predicted. So these polls are actually pretty spot on. We see, um, yeah, the I guess they could call them the lesser known candidates, not really doing too well. Pete Boland actually did too bad. I mean, not too bad considering he didn't have any background in politics prior to this election. Running against the top four here, like they were all, Ken Welch was county commissioner, Robert Blackman, Darden Rice were city council people when Gay Newton was in the House of Representatives. They all had an established political career, and um, to get 3,000 votes is, from being nowhere. It's no small victory. He could use that to run for city council someday, or county commission. He he could, as long if he stays politically active, he could probably find himself on city council, especially when you look at the total number of votes for a lot of these council elections. Like you're seeing, Richie Floyd winning with less than 3,000 votes. We got 2.6, or yeah, 2,600, 2,200. I mean, these are very not these are very small districts with relatively low turnout. I don't know exactly what the turnout was. Uh, doesn't say it on here. Maybe it's just on there. Oh, um, yeah. So basically, with that kind of number, he would have a bit of an advantage against other people running. I previously thought that perhaps Michael Ingram might have a similar advantage, but yeah, I think the same goes for any of these candidates. If they stay politically active and they build up their base, surely they can, find an entrance into St. Pete politics or Pinellas County politics at some point. Anyways, so the last poll was August 21st. That is the one that pretty much matched up with the general election results here. I wanted to wait until a new poll came out um, post the August 24th election, but they haven't put anything out yet. I'm sure it's in progress as we speak. And in the future, I'll do a video on that as well, especially if there is any kind of debate, whether it's any debate between Ken Welch and Robert Blackman, or any debates between the runoff candidates for any of the district council seats. Uh, it's not much time. It's August. We only have September and October. I don't. I want to say that the election is November 2nd, but uh, surely it is. Yep, November 2nd. So yeah, we are almost 2 months out. Um, should be interesting. Uh, that is for sure. Definitely, like the candidates continuing to rack up um, endorsements. If you care about that, I personally like. I'm Endorsements are kind of just like politicians using political capital in a way. Like uh, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. That's kind of how I feel about it. But there's some people on here that are, um, if you have a certain amount of respect for them, like for example, like Michelle Rayner, I think she's running for Charlie Crist's seat here in Pinellas County. There's a number of people here. Charlie Crist himself, Jim Davis, uh, gubernatorial nominee. I mean, if these are people that you look up to, then you could, consider that endorsement as you will. It's interesting. Rick Baker uh, backing Wingate Newton was interesting, especially with. I think it's because Wingate Newton. So this goes back to that whole, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Wingate Newton backed Rick Baker back in 2017 over Rick Kreisman. So I guess this is the return on investment, although it didn't seem to do much. He, you know, he didn't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where Wingate Newton goes in uh, Florida politics. Um, Maybe back on the city council. Maybe he could run for the Charlie Crist seat, depending on how it's redistricted. That's all supposed to happen next year as well. But yeah, so at the moment, the polls for polls for Ken Welch versus Robert Blackman, um, they definitely lean in favor of Ken Welch. Normally, I would say this high undecided number was kind of yikesy, as I've said in past videos. However, I mean, with that undecided number, Ken Welch still has a majority of the vote. So yeah, this isn't unsurprising either. Ken Welch is like he's got a very large bipartisan base of support through politicians and others, like voters and stuff like that. So I think I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what the next poll says, but I think we can pretty much guarantee Ken Welch will be the next mayor. I mean, we'll find out in a couple months, as well as who becomes our city council representatives. Um, so that's about it for today. Um, Moving into 2022, I'm going to expand beyond St. Pete. I want to look at, we have some big Florida races coming up next year. Obviously, we've got the election for governor. We've got Senator Marco Rubio. He's up for reelection. Ron DeSantis is up for reelection. Um, with the state of COVID in Florida, those races are becoming much closer. Well, specifically, the governor's race is becoming much closer. And so it'll be. I want to see how that goes, especially like the Democratic primary. It seems to be a race between Charlie Crist and um, I forget her name somehow. She's agricultural commissioner. Oh, am I forgetting her name? Nikki Fried. Okay. Yeah. So it seems to be between these two candidates. Um, and it's interesting. I'll do a bigger video on it someday, but polls at the moment seem to show Nikki Fried on top of Charlie Crist. But if I remember correctly, well, I mean, actually, recent polls show Nikki Fried or Charlie Crist topping Ron DeSantis. But of course, the election for governor is over a year away, and a lot can happen. And people, if things get better regarding COVID and the mask situation in schools, anything can turn around. So that'll be cool to watch in the future. I'm sure this will all start heating up early next year. I'm pretty sure, but I will be there to make some videos about it. And yeah, thanks for watching. Feel free to throw questions down in the comments section. I will respond. Thanks for watching.